Emma Daniels was a seasoned businesswoman accustomed to the rigors of corporate life and the demands of the modern world. Her career had taken her to cities across the globe, from the bustling streets of New York to the tranquil charm of Paris. Yet amidst the constant flurry of meetings and deadlines, she yearned for a respite, a sanctuary to escape the cacophony of her fast-paced life. It was during a rare moment of self-indulgence that Emma stumbled upon the Sedgwick Hotel, an elegant establishment nestled in a picturesque town. Its Victorian charm and aura of quiet sophistication beckoned to her weary soul, and she couldn't resist the allure of its promise, a tranquil retreat away from the chaos of the corporate world. Upon her arrival, Emma was greeted by the warm smile of the hotel's concierge, a gentleman named Mr. Thompson. He was a true embodiment of old-world hospitality, his manner exuding a genuine warmth that instantly put her at ease. Emma's room, room 314, was a vision of timeless elegance, with its plush furnishings and a view of the verdant gardens that stretched beyond the hotel's windows. The Sedgwick Hotel seemed like the perfect haven for Emma, a place where she could escape the clutches of her demanding career and find solace in the simple pleasures of life. The town was a haven of tranquility, with its cobbled streets, charming boutiques, and friendly locals who greeted her with smiles. As the sun set over the town, Emma dined at the hotel's restaurant, savoring each exquisite dish that was presented before her. The flavors were a symphony for her senses, and she marveled at how this quaint town could hold such culinary treasures. After dinner, she retired to her room, eager to savor the quiet solitude it offered. As Emma settled into the plush armchair by the window, a sense of serenity washed over her. The room seemed to embrace her, its soothing ambience a balm for her weary soul. She decided to spend the evening lost in a good book, immersing herself in the world of fiction as the town's lights twinkled beyond her window. Yet as the night deepened and the town grew quiet, Emma became aware of a faint sound that seemed to echo through the walls. It was a soft, almost imperceptible noise, like a distant whisper that teased her senses. She paused, her book forgotten in her lap as she strained to discern the source of the sound. The noise seemed to emanate from the room next door, room 315. It was a barely audible murmur, indistinct yet persistent. Emma couldn't help but wonder if her neighbor had left a television or a radio on, its volume lowered to a mere whisper. As the minutes passed, the noise continued, its soft cadence growing increasingly unsettling. Emma could hear voices, muffled and hushed, as if a conversation was taking place in the adjacent room. Yet the words remained unintelligible, their meaning eluding her. Intrigued and perturbed in equal measure, Emma decided to investigate the source of the sound. She rose from her chair and crossed to the door that connected her room to room 315. She hesitated for a moment, her hand poised to knock, but before she could do so, the noise ceased abruptly. Confused and disconcerted, Emma returned to her room, unsure of what to make of the strange occurrence. She had barely settled back into her armchair when the noise resumed, as if in response to her departure. The whispered voices continued, their tone growing increasingly agitated. Determined to unravel the mystery, Emma decided to knock on the door of room 315. She could no longer ignore the enigmatic sounds that had captured her attention. With a sense of trepidation, she crossed to the adjoining door and rapped her knuckles against its surface. The noise inside room 315 ceased once more, and there was a moment of silence. Then the door creaked open slowly, revealing the interior of the neighboring room. Emma peered inside, her heart pounding, but there was no one to be seen. The room appeared empty, its furnishings untouched. There was no sign of a television or a radio, and the whispered voices had fallen silent. Emma's sense of disquiet deepened, and she couldn't help but wonder if she had imagined the entire episode. Feeling both bewildered and embarrassed, she withdrew from room 315, allowing the door to swing shut behind her. She returned to her room, determined to put the strange occurrence behind her and resume her evening of relaxation. But the whispered voices refused to be forgotten. They seemed to echo in her mind, haunting her thoughts and refusing to release their hold. As Emma lay in her bed, the sound of the hushed conversation filled her ears once more, as if it emanated from the very walls themselves. Unable to ignore the enigmatic voices any longer, Emma called the front desk and spoke with Mr. Thompson, the concierge. She explained the strange sounds coming from room 315 and requested that someone investigate the matter. Mr. Thompson assured her that he would look into the situation, and a short while later he arrived at Emma's door. He wore a concerned expression as he listened to the noises coming from room 315, confirming that there was indeed something amiss. Together they approached the door of room 315 and once again Emma knocked. This time there was no response and Mr. Thompson used a master key to unlock the door and enter the room. The chamber was bathed in an half light, its curtains drawn to create a dim, almost oppressive ambience. As they stepped into the room, they found it to be as empty as it had appeared before. There were no signs of guests, and the whispered voices had once again fallen silent. As Mr. Thompson searched the room, Emma couldn't shake the sense of disquiet that filled her. She felt a compulsion to investigate further. With Mr. Thompson's permission, she decided to search the room herself, drawn by an inexplicable need to uncover the source of the enigmatic voices. As she combed through room 315, Emma couldn't find any clues that would explain the strange noises. The furniture was impeccably arranged, and the chamber was devoid of any electronic devices. The window offered a view of the night-shrouded town, its serenity in stark contrast to the unsettling events within. As Emma reached the bathroom, she noticed that the door was ajar. She pushed it open, revealing a scene that she could not believe. The bathroom was empty, but a faint, ghostly whisper seemed to emanate from within, its source concealed from view. Emma stepped into the bathroom, drawn by the ethereal sound. She searched for the origin of the noise, her gaze fixated on the ceiling. It was there that she noticed an air vent, its metal grill partially dislodged. With a sense of trepidation, Emma removed the grill and peered inside. To her astonishment, she discovered a hidden chamber within the walls of the hotel. The space was cramped, its walls lined with ancient decaying manuscripts and journals. As Emma retrieved the writings, she realized that they were diaries, accounts of long-forgotten guests who had stayed in the room. The pages were filled with cryptic entries, describing the same whispered voices that she had heard, the same conversations that had haunted her. It became clear that the voices were not a figment of her imagination. The diaries revealed that countless guests had reported similar experiences, and the room itself had gained a sinister reputation. The writings spoke of an inexplicable presence, of voices that seemed to transcend time and space. Emma couldn't help but be captivated by the diaries, their words drawing her deeper into the enigma of room 315. As she continued to read, she discovered that the room had been the site of unexplained phenomena for decades, with guests reporting whispered voices, shadowy apparitions, and a sense of being watched. Intrigued and unnerved, Emma returned to her room, the diaries in hand, and shared her discoveries with Mr. Thompson. The hotel staff had been unaware of the hidden chamber within the walls, and the revelation left them with a sense of unease. Together, Emma and Mr. Thompson decided to conduct a thorough investigation into the history of room 315. They sought out local archives, delving into the town's past in search of answers. What they uncovered was a chilling tale of tragedy and unexplained occurrences. Room 315 had once been part of a grand mansion that had stood on the hotel's grounds. The mansion had been the residence of a wealthy family, the Howards, who had lived there in the late 19th century. The family had been known for their reclusive nature and had rarely been seen in the town. As Emma and Mr. Thompson delved deeper into the history of the Howards, they discovered that the family's isolation had been shrouded in mystery. Rumors abounded that they had been involved in arcane practices and had been consumed by a sense of foreboding. The diaries penned by various guests who had stayed in room 315 over the years revealed a recurring theme. They spoke of whispered voices and the sensation of being watched, as if the room itself held a dark presence. The enigma of room 315 had endured for generations, a haunting legacy that continued to bewilder and terrify those who entered its walls. It was as if the room had become a repository of the past, a place where the voices of the Howards and their unexplained secrets continued to echo. The hotel staff decided to seal off room 315, no longer allowing guests to stay there. Emma returned to her room, the diaries a testament to the enigmatic history of the Sedgwick Hotel. As she lay in her bed, she couldn't help but wonder about the countless guests who had been lured by the whispered voices of room 315, and the secrets that continued to elude understanding. The end. Story 2. The small town of Willowbrook had always been a place shrouded in mystery, Tucked away in a remote corner of the countryside, it had a history rich with tales of unexplained phenomena and lingering secrets. It was in this enigmatic town that Sarah and Daniel had decided to spend a quiet weekend at the Willowbrook Hotel, a charming and rustic inn nestled among ancient oaks. The couple had come to Willowbrook in search of respite, a break from their busy lives in the bustling city. Sarah, with her fiery red hair and an insatiable curiosity, had a passion for history and a fascination with the unexplained. Daniel, on the other hand, was a pragmatic man, a software engineer who relied on logic and reason. The Willowbrook Hotel was a charming relic from another era, with creaking floorboards, antique furniture, and an air of nostalgia that enchanted its guests. It was rumored to have been a former convent and had a history dating back over a century. The hotel had been beautifully restored, and the couple found themselves enchanted by its timeless charm. Their first evening in Willowbrook was filled with the aroma of the nearby forest and the gentle hush of the river that wound its way through the town. They dined at the hotel's restaurant, savoring local delicacies, and then retreated to their room, which exuded an old-world charm. As the night settled in, Sarah's curiosity got the best of her, and she couldn't resist delving into the history of the hotel. She had read that there were whispers of a ghostly nun who was said to wander the halls at night, a figure from the hotel's mysterious past. Although Daniel dismissed the idea as mere folklore, Sarah couldn't help but be intrigued. Their room was adorned with an antique mirror, a relic from the convent's days. Sarah examined it closely, her reflection mingling with the hotel's rich history. She was convinced that she could see faint, ghostly images in the mirror, figures from a bygone era. Daniel, however, attributed it to the play of light and shadow. The night passed peacefully, and the couple awoke to the gentle rays of the morning sun streaming through their window. They spent the day exploring the town, taking leisurely walks through the lush woods, and enjoying the local cuisine at a nearby cafe. Willowbrook seemed to have an undeniable charm, and they were grateful for their escape from the city's bustling chaos. As the day turned into evening, the couple returned to the hotel, their footsteps echoing in the empty hallway. They had decided to spend the evening in their room, enjoying a quiet dinner in the comfort of their quarters. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows in the dimming light. It was while they were dining that the first unusual occurrence took place. The lights in their room flickered and then dimmed, casting the chamber in a dark twilight. Sarah dismissed it as an electrical glitch, but a sense of disquiet settled over Daniel. The couple decided to retire for the night, the light of a single lamp illuminating their path. As they settled into bed, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. It was as if the room held a silent, watchful presence, and the air seemed charged with an unspoken history. Sarah, still intrigued by the tales of the ghostly nun, suggested conducting a séance, a playful attempt to connect with the past. She lit a few candles, and they held hands, closing their eyes. The room was filled with an expectant silence, broken only by the soft murmur of the nearby river. Suddenly, the candles flickered and extinguished, plunging the room into darkness. An icy breeze seemed to sweep through the chamber, and the couple felt a strange presence enveloping them. Sarah's curiosity had quickly given way to fear, and she urged Daniel to stop the séance. The room seemed to respond, and the lights flickered back to life. Despite their unease, the couple attributed the bizarre experience to their imagination, heightened by the stories they had heard. They decided to sleep, hoping for a more peaceful night, but their night was anything but peaceful. As they lay in bed, a soft, ethereal voice filled the room. It was a whisper, barely audible but unmistakably present. The words were garbled like a forgotten language, and the voice seemed to resonate from the walls themselves. Sarah and Daniel exchanged nervous glances, their unease deepening. They couldn't pinpoint the source of the voice, and the air seemed charged with an otherworldly energy. As the whispering continued, it seemed to grow louder and more insistent. Suddenly, a shadowy figure materialized at the foot of their bed. It was a nun dressed in an antiquated habit, her face obscured by a veil. She was a phantom from the past, her form translucent and wavering. The couple watched in paralyzed horror as the ghostly figure extended a bony hand towards them. In a panic, Sarah and Daniel fled from their bed, their hearts pounding with terror. They rushed out of their room and into the hallway, their breathless flight taking them deeper into the hotel's ancient corridors. The corridor was poorly lit, and the flickering sconces cast mysterious shifting shadows. The couple found themselves in a labyrinth of hallways, their sense of direction muddled by the hotel's convoluted layout. The oppressive air seemed to close in around them, and the echoes of their footsteps reverberated through the silence. As they ventured further into the hotel, they encountered more spectral figures, each one a silent sentinel from the past. The ghostly nuns seemed to glide through the walls, their presence hauntingly real. The couple's fear was now mingled with a growing sense of disorientation. In the distance, they heard a soft, mournful chant, a haunting melody that seemed to beckon them. The voice, a chorus of ethereal nuns, echoed through the hallways, leading them deeper into the hotel's enigmatic heart. Sarah and Daniel couldn't resist the call, their curiosity overpowering their fear. They followed the haunting melody, their footsteps guided by an unseen force. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with a forgotten history, a narrative of secrets and regrets. The chant led them to a grand chamber, a place that seemed untouched by time. The room was bathed in a soft, ethereal light, and the walls were adorned with faded frescoes. At the center of the chamber stood a large, ornate mirror, its surface reflecting the ghostly figures that filled the room. The spectral nuns surrounded the mirror, their veiled faces turned towards its surface. As the couple watched in astonishment, the mirror seemed to come to life. Images from the past flickered across its surface, a montage of moments frozen in time. The mirror revealed the history of the convent, a tale of devotion and despair. It showed the nuns' lives, their dedication to their faith, and the sorrow that had enveloped them. The haunting images left an indelible mark on the couple, who now understood the hotel's dark secret. As the mirror's visions faded, the spectral nuns turned toward Sarah and Daniel, their gaze filled with a profound sadness. The couple could feel the weight of the nuns' unspoken stories, their presence a testament to a past that refused to be forgotten. The chant reached its crescendo, and the room seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy. Sarah and Daniel were caught in a maelstrom of history, their own lives entwined with the enigmatic past of the Willowbrook Hotel. In an instant, the room returned to its silent, timeless state. The spectral nuns faded into the walls, and the chamber fell into a profound stillness. The couple, their fear replaced by a sense of wonder, felt a deep connection to the hotel and its unexplained mysteries. They returned to their room, and as they lay in bed, they couldn't help but reflect on the events of the night. The enigmatic past of the Willowbrook Hotel had revealed itself, and the couple had become a part of its enduring history. The next morning, as they checked out of the hotel, they couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for their encounter with the spectral nuns. The experience had left an indelible mark on them, a reminder that some places held secrets that were meant to be shared with those who dared to seek the unknown. As they left Willowbrook behind, they carried with them a newfound appreciation for the mysteries of the world, and the knowledge that sometimes the most profound experiences could be found in the unlikeliest of places. The small town had revealed its enigmatic heart to the couple, and they would forever be bound by the echoes of the past. The end. Story 3. The Royal Crescent Hotel was a beacon of luxury and charm in the heart of the city, a place where history and opulence intertwined to create an experience like no other. As I entered the lobby of the Grand Hotel, I felt a sense of privilege wash over me. I was about to embark on a weekend getaway, a respite from the daily grind, and I had chosen the Royal Crescent for its reputation of being a sanctuary in the bustling metropolis. The concierge, a gentleman by the name of Robert, greeted me with a warm smile. He had the air of someone who had served the hotel for decades, and I had no doubt that his knowledge of the Royal Crescent's history rivaled any historian's. My room, room 417, was a masterpiece of classic elegance. The decor was a seamless blend of traditional and contemporary, and a large window framed a breathtaking view of the city. The city lights spread out like a sparkling tapestry, and I was eager to immerse myself in the luxurious comfort that the Royal Crescent promised. That first evening, I decided to explore the city. The streets were alive with energy, the cacophony of traffic and the hum of conversations filling the air. I roamed the city's bustling markets, indulging in street food and reveling in the vibrant life that surrounded me. The night was filled with laughter, the harmonious blend of languages, and the sweet melodies of street musicians. It was well past midnight when I returned to the Royal Crescent, and the hotel's lobby had transformed into a haven of tranquility. The creepy space exuded an air of timeless elegance, and the concierge, a gentleman named Mr. Lawrence, greeted me with a polite nod. The fourth floor, where room 417 was located, was quiet as I made my way down the corridor. The plush carpeting muffled my footsteps, and the sconces that lined the walls cast elongated shadows. It was as if the corridor had slipped into another era, one where time moved at a slower pace. As I approached the door to room 417, I noticed something unusual. The brass plaque, which typically displayed the room number, was blank. It was as if the room didn't exist, or it was intentionally concealed. The sight sent a cold feeling down my back, but I attributed it to a quirky detail of an old hotel. Turning the handle, I entered the room ready to unwind and savor the comforts of the Royal Crescent. However, the atmosphere within the room was unnaturally cold. I checked the thermostat, which was set at a moderate temperature. Yet the chill persisted. I couldn't help but wonder if the old building had heating issues. I decided to draw the heavy curtains to take in the city's magnificent view, but they refused to budge. It was as if they were frozen in place, resisting my efforts to reveal the world outside. I tugged at them with increasing frustration, but they remained immovable. The room's atmosphere was growing increasingly oppressive, and I made my way to the bathroom, hoping to freshen up and shake off the discomfort. However, when I turned on the faucet, icy water rushed out, sending an electric shock through my fingers. I quickly turned it off, bewildered by the unexpected frigidity. I began to wonder if there was an issue with the hotel's plumbing. My discomfort was deepening, and I contemplated calling the front desk for assistance. However, when I picked up the phone on the bedside table, there was no dial tone. It was as if the room existed in a state of isolation, disconnected from the rest of the hotel. I decided to leave room 417 and speak with the concierge about the peculiarities I had encountered. As I approached the door, however, I hesitated. The brass plaque, previously blank, now bore an inscription, Room 417. The sight was bewildering, as if the room's identity had been in a state of flux, its existence uncertain. With a trembling hand, I opened the door, only to be met with a sight that would haunt my dreams for years to come. The room had transformed into a creepy chamber that bore no resemblance to the luxurious quarters I had entered. The wallpaper, once adorned with classic patterns, was now faded and peeling. The ornate furniture was replaced by drab, threadbare pieces, and the grand window that had framed the city's beauty was now veiled by heavy, moth-eaten curtains. I couldn't comprehend the change that had overcome room 417. It was as if I had been transported to a different era, a shadowy reflection of the Royal Crescent's past. My confusion gave way to a growing sense of dread, and I had the overwhelming urge to flee the room. Yet as I turned to leave, the door swung shut with a resounding thud. I was trapped, my heart racing as I struggled to open the door once more. It refused to yield, as if it were sealed against any attempt at escape. The room's temperature plummeted further, and a frigid breath seemed to emanate from the walls. I was engulfed by a sensation of suffocation, as if the very air had thickened with an otherworldly chill. The mirror in the bathroom, once a reflection of my own self, now bore a sinister visage. My reflection was marred by a grotesque distortion, the face in the glass twisted into a rictus of agony. As I stared at the contorted image, a voice, faint and distant, began to emanate from the walls. It was a chorus of whispers, indistinct yet unmistakably sinister. The words were garbled, their meaning lost in the cacophony, but the malevolence of the voices was undeniable. My fear reached a crescendo, and I pounded on the door, desperate to escape the nightmarish confines of room 417. The air itself seemed to constrict around me, squeezing the breath from my lungs. And then, as suddenly as it had all begun, it ceased. The door swung open, the room returned to its previous state of elegance, and the frigid atmosphere dissolved. I stumbled out of the room, my pulse still racing, and made my way to the lobby. The night concierge, Mr. Lawrence, looked at me with concern as I recounted my ordeal. He listened patiently, his expression tinged with a mixture of sympathy and disbelief. When I asked about room 417, he hesitated before providing a response. He explained that the room had a notorious history within the hotel, one that had confounded guests and staff for generations. No one had ever been able to explain the enigma of room 417, a place where reality and illusion seemed to intermingle. As I left the Royal Crescent Hotel, I couldn't help but wonder about the countless others who had fallen victim to the room's sinister grasp. Its mysteries remained unsolved and its enigma endured, a chilling reminder that some secrets are meant to remain buried, hidden behind the walls of room 417. Over the years, I heard whispers of others who had encountered the room's scary transformation. Each account varied in detail, but the core experience remained the same: the room's sinister metamorphosis, the chilling voices, and the sense of entrapment. The enigma of room 417 continued to haunt the Royal Crescent, defying explanation and perpetuating its legacy of terror. The city's elite and curious alike would continue to check into the Royal Crescent, each guest tempting fate as they crossed the threshold of room 417. The room, with its history of enigmatic horrors, remained a dark secret within the Grand Hotel, a place where reality blurred with the supernatural, and where the line between the living and the dead grew thin.